All right, guys, welcome back again. This is Cat's Pajamas here for the IPL Season 2 Qualifiers number 3. This is a matchup between our Purple Terran player down here at the bottom left-hand corner of Tal'Dorei Malter. That is FXOqxc. His opponent, currently up 1-0, is down here in the bottom right-hand corner. He is our pink Protoss player. He is Flashback. Now, Flashback, like I mentioned in game number 1, came within a game of qualifying for the IPL Season 2 in last week's qualifier. And in this week, really trying to make a run at it. And he is up 1-0 on QXC. Certainly a good place to be. And QXC, that last game, really didn't use a whole lot of overt aggression. Was happy to play the passive game, which I was a little surprised to see. Like I said, I don't know how well he knows Flashback, but Flashback showed a pretty good case of knowing his opponent. He was playing passively like I've seen him play every time. That's no different. But what was pretty good was that he had stalkers positioned in all of the key areas to stop any sort of harassment. There was one point in time when QXC was up by, I think, 20 supply, and there were those 6 stalkers, or 5 stalkers, that were pulled off to prepare for those sorts of drops, harassment play out of QXC, that QXC actually could have engaged in a frontline engagement. He had the upgrade advantage, and he probably would have destroyed Flashback's force, but he produced a ton of Vikings, and Flashback said, fine, kill my Colossi, I'll kill everything you have on the ground. Those Vikings won't be able to do a single thing to me. And he does take game number 1. So this, of course, a much different map, much larger. Have to find out where your opponent is at. Looks like QXC is actually bypassing gas. He is going to go for a 1-Rex fast expand. And both players actually scouting to as wrong of a position as they possibly can. Because they will scout each other last. These workers will eventually pass each other here in the top left-hand corner. But it's going to be quite a while before QXC ever does find his opponent. Flashback, on the other hand, going after a cybernetic score here. We'll see if he ends up going with a 19, excuse me, a 19 gas once again, or if he's going to bypass that completely. Still not getting a Zealot this time. And no inclination of that gas yet. We'll find out here in just a second. So finally, the workers do pass each other. QXC hoping that his opponent here is cross-positioned, so he can scout him a little bit earlier, but unfortunately that's not going to be the case. Flashback, though, is continuing to chrono boost out those probes, saving up quite a bit of money as well. This could just be a good old-fashioned 1-gate fast expand. There we are. There's the pylon going down, indicative of something coming down at the natural. That expansion is going to fall. So QXC now putting up barracks number 2 and 3. Has not gone after any sort of gas quite yet. QXC running across the map with a couple of Marines. He is going to find that probe. Poor probe. And Flashback not moving it away. QXC with good micro does take it down. And the expansion coming up for Flashback as well. But of course QXC is far ahead in his expansion timings in that regard. But of course quite behind in tech. We'll see how this works out. QXC now bringing in his second orbital command and establishing a bunker to try and hold off this stalker pressure. Looks like QXC actually has to get this Marine to the back there. There we go. That Marine down to just 5 points of health. That will be a permanent garrison inside of the bunker from here on out. Poor Marine. There you are. Sad. Looks like Flashback, though. He does have his Nexus almost complete, and he himself is going to a Robo with 2 more gateways. So a 3-gate Robo coming out here for the time being. Only now putting up his second assimilator, so it will be a while before he gets any sort of Colossus tech. And this Marine may actually go down. 1 Marine did fall. 2 Marines have fallen now. So a nice little gain there for that Stalker. Good control on the part of Flashback. QXC is up by 7 supply overall, though. Almost tied in workers, but of course he has double mules now, so his economy is going to be quite a bit stronger. Flashback maynarding over some probes there. And back in his main, does just have those 3 warp gates now constructed. Not doing all too much yet, though. Doesn't have a lot of resources saved up either. So no Robo Bay incoming. In fact, it's going to be quite a while now. Has not even gone after gas number 3 and 4. So So I'll be curious to see if he wants to make just a big gateway pressure, or if he's going to sit back and play really passively and get super late Colossus tech again. Bunker number 2 coming up for QXC. He is going for his 3rd gas. Everything looks pretty standard out of him, getting down a couple of add-ons as well for double upgrades. He'll be able to put down a factory here in preparation for a starport in the near future if he decides to do so. Looks like he's going to go with Concussive Shell first. See if he follows that up with a quick Stim Pack on the other one. There's the 100 gas, and there's Stim Pack. So for the time being, just an observer making its way out for Flashback. He does have his 4th gateway coming up. And now finally starting to build a little bit of resources. There we go. 2 sentries and a stalker coming out at the same time. And we'll see if he decides to move in here in a second. Or move, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said. Woo, yeah, whoa, man, got this covered. No, not move in, but position himself forward a little bit. That gateway is just about finished. Man, these players are playing extremely passively. Every game I've seen out of Flashback thus far, he just plays a ridiculously passive game. And QXC playing that right along with him. I like this little timing attack coming out of QXC. Take control of that Xel'Naga Tower and hopefully just sit there until Stimpack finishes. Back here on Flashback side of things, though, he's got a couple of Zealots coming up. And he himself has not really done any sort of big tech transition. Just pylons coming up, no Colossus tech, just pure gateway units here for the time being. Marine making its way up now for QXC, sees only gateway units, scans just to make sure that's the case. And QXC is actually, I believe both players are tied in supply. QXC is way supply blocked, though. Way supply blocked. Oh, that's not good. He does have that 3rd command center coming up, though. So he is content to once again play the passive macro game. Now, he kind of missed his timing last game, so we'll see if he takes a little bit different approach to it. And let's see, now we finally do have the starport landing on the reactor. The first things to come out are medevacs. That is now officially twice as many medevacs as he had last game, despite the fact that that last game was a 20-minute long game. Those bioforces were relatively unsupported. QXC sitting over the 3rd, though, for the time being. He's going to run out with a couple more spotter marines, stimming those in. Flashback has finally finished the robotics bay. And he does have his first Colossus coming up, but he is not. There we go. Just started investing into Thermal Lance. Thermal Lance will take quite a while. But Chrono Boosted, it will be here before you know it. QXC running out now with all of his bioforces. And we do have an armory just finishing up for him for continued upgrades. No, there we go. There's the 2nd engineering bay. But QXC is not investing in those upgrades quite yet. He is getting another Ghost Academy, though, but this one substantially later than last game was. Big drop coming here into the main. But once again, look at this. Flashback is totally ready for it. This could end badly, and QXC does see those units, decides to run away, and may even drop himself into the natural. There we go. That's going to be a good move. QXC is going to be able to kill a bunch of units there. We'll see if he actually picks up, or we'll see. Yes, he is going to do so. Did not lose a unit, just lost a little bit of health. That manages to pick off 2 or 3 probes there. So now QXC moving back. Economic lead is actually, for the moment... Oh, I assume because, yeah, all these SCVs were just transferring. There we go. I was a little surprised by the result I was looking at. I was like, QXC should be significantly ahead. Oh, yes. Transferring over to the 3rd. So there we go. QXC is, in fact, ahead. Looks like he is going to move back in with these medevacs. Flashback is ready again. He's got to watch out. That medevac almost goes down. Flashback himself is investing in upgrades. Pretty similar build to what we saw last time. 4-gate Robo with Robo Bay. Goes up to a single Forge and Twilight Council. So everything looks really, really similar out of him. I think QXC is going to try his luck one more time. But unfortunately, Flashback is still there with all of those Stalkers. But if he takes a long way around, he should be able to evade most attacks. Let's actually take a look at his vision. Does he see these medevacs come by? No, he does not. So here we go. QXC is now dropping into the main. He's got all of his units down. Those are very upgraded units. Oh, wow. These stalkers are going to fall very quickly once those marauders get into the fight. There we go. Those marauders actually weren't in the fight for long enough. But QXC is doing significant damage. A lot of those stalkers are going to fall. Colossi picking off the rest of those units. Marauders going down. But QXC does his damage. Flashback is back by about 12 supply, and only just now establishing his next nexus. We'll probably see some probes transferred over there in a second. There we go. There's some old probos. Looks like another bunch of gateways coming up for Flashback. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 added at the same time. 6! Nah, just 5. There we go. And a Dark Shrine. So he is going into that massive unit production again. That's going to put QXC in kind of an awkward spot if he's able to establish that one more time. See what QXC has in store, though. Going into quad Viking production again. Hopefully he has some support for his bioforces. His EMP control was fine last time. We just overcommitted to Vikings. And that Zealot does go down. I'm going to say charge lot. Do they actually have charge research? No, it doesn't look like it. A few DTs making their way in. Not sure where those DTs were at, or if they're just in army composition. There they are. Looks like they're just in army composition. QXC was trying to do a little bit of harassment. He is going to be pushed away, though. Those units burnt to a nice little crisp. QXC still with the supply advantage here for the time being, though. 172 to 1... Ooh, now just 169. Wow. Flashback warping in a ton of units there. Like a lot of charge lots in that group as well. Said it again. Charger's only just now researching. Another expansion coming up for Flashback, though. So he is going to take the base advantage over his opponent. But it looks like QXC is content with a 3-base attack here. My good lord, he has a ridiculous air force. I mean, he's going to be able to take down Colossi very quickly. And let's see, here comes Flashback, and he is going to kill a couple of SCVs. Misses with one swing. And actually, there we go. Finally does go down. Flashback now making his way across the middle of the map with a bunch of Colossi. But more importantly, a few more Stalkers than he had in his last composition. He didn't really need them, so I guess he does suspect quite a few Vikings to be coming at him, and that is a good read. As, my good lord, the Air Force of the United States QXC is about to make its way out on +1 upgrades. So here it comes, 16 Vikings. Not much in the way of medevac support. Looks like we are going to have a drop-in for QXC at the same time. And he is going to force the engagement on his terms, which I like. See a couple more expansions coming out. I just heard a DT slicing and dicing. Not sure where said DT is. There we go. Scan goes down. So a number of ghosts out in this composition as well. 5 of them, as a matter of fact. They are all full energy, so the EMPs will be quite strong. Here the Marines are coming in, though. They are going to be able to take out a couple of probes. But after that, the end is near. Archon is forming here for the moment. Looks like QXC just wants to play. He just wants to play as passively as possible. I mean, he just lost a fair bit of units there, but he allowed Flashback to fill up that gap in probes with more attack units, which just made Flashback's army stronger. And Flashback is on 4 bases, so he's going to have quite a few resources mined when the time comes to replenish. I'll find out, though. QXC transferring some more SUVs over to the top bases. And those will actually evade Protoss detection. So QXC should be getting minerals at a greater rate to be able to replenish his army a little bit quicker, but gotta say, I'm a little surprised that he's trying to match his passive opponent with passive play. So here comes QXC now. He's going to lead with a couple of ghosts. Those ghosts are going to drop down some good EMPs here in a second. But Flashback, he has a good composition here. Looks like he's actually going to free up some supply. Takes down a couple of Stalkers so we can warp in some High Templar. Start getting some storms down. Of course, the QXC attacks right now before Storm is done. Flashback will have voluntarily made his army a little bit weaker, and that could be a good position to find himself in. Nice, picks off an Observer. Starts to do a little bit of damage there to the Colossi. Stalkers blink in, they pick off 2 units there. QXC going to make his way back in. Bring up the health bars for the engagement. Both players just really afraid to attack, despite the fact that we are over 20 minutes into the game. Not a lot of overt harassment being done. And QXC just going up to more and more and more upgrades, including building armor. Well, there's the Stalkers. Move in one more time. A few units swing around the side there for QXC. Here comes a more frontline engagement. QXC taking down those Colossi very quickly. Nice EMPs go off. And QXC with a lot more success in this engagement. Seems like he brought the right number of Vikings to the battle. They were absorbing damage from those Stalkers for quite a while. And the Marauders making their way up now for QXC. A few of those units were trapped behind force fields there, but not that big of a deal. QXC is going to be able to steamroll that force. And the Army tab suggests that QXC is up by about 60 supplies, so he has this game well in hand, just building up for one big engagement, then moves out. So here we go. There's Flashback, and photon cannons annihilating a bunch of Vikings. And this is pretty good defense there by Flashback. Got to admit, did a lot of damage to those Vikings. But, of course, it looks like QXC is going to be able to run away. A lot of very low health Marauders there. QXC still up by 38 supply. But Flashback did a pretty decent job there of holding that next base. However, he's almost mined out of his natural. He is mined out of his main. And he is on 65 probes, but it looks like they're mostly mining gas at the various different bases. Or 24 of them are, at least. There we go. A few more probes are transferring themselves over to the 4th. Now, of course, QXC is mining off of 1, 2, 3, and about a half bases. Oh, no, there's a 4th. There we go. So about 4.5 bases. That is far superior to his opponent, and it does show that in the economy between the two players. QXC is almost maxed once again, and going after a nuke! Hooray, nuke! Terran ship weapons level 3 coming up, and mass ghosts on the way. QXC maybe with a little bit of fun here. Although, I use a nuke in every situation, because it is awesome. At least awesome as a caster. So here comes QXC. Was thinking about poking and prodding there. Now he's going to stim. EMPs go off. They catch the shields of a few units. Certainly a valuable contribution there. And it looks like Flashback is actually going to engage in more open ground. Which, if he has good... Well, he doesn't have any sentries whatsoever. So I don't know why he would do that. But that's okay. Here come all of the charge lots now. The charge lots are making their way up. And looks like QXC is going to take down this Colossus. Does quite a bit of damage. His upgrades are vastly superior. And thus he does take down all of those units. And the storms do go down. They catch a couple of ghosts. But QXC once again reigning supreme out of that engagement. Now up by 50 supply. Could make a big force here. Just overtly put out a bunch of units and then just rock his opponent. Flashback trying to go to a 5th base. Transferring over some probes to that end. But he has a ton of gas. And not a lot in the way of minerals. That is reflecting in his unit composition here at the moment. This will be mostly very high-tech units, but less of them. So QXC making his way up to the top. And he is going to find a base there. A couple of Zealots in addition to this Dark Templar being put in play. So Flashback has a chance at holding this, as that is just Marines. Yeah, he should be able to do so quite nicely. That is going to force QXC away. QXC doing a little bit of kiting there. But Flashback is going to clean up the rest of those forces. And let's see here. Flashback, how many gates is he on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 gates. And on double robo as well. He's going to be able to reproduce units as quickly as he can gather resources. QXC is going to walk in here. Oh, yes. Nuke, please. Oh, yes. Here we go. And QXC makes his way down with the ghost. Do it! You know you want to! There it is. Nuke coming down now. QXC is maxed. Very nice reaction time by Flashback. It's just going to be lost mining time more than anything else. QXC could make a big frontal attack, though. We'll see if he does or not. Here's the nuke. And it takes out a pylon. And unfortunately, the ghost does go down. But at the same time, here come mass Reapers out of QXC. 3-3 Reapers. I have got to admit, holy crap. Those are powerful against light units and structures. Wow. Okay, so a little handful of Reapers are going to be able to annihilate a lot of those forces. QXC does stim up. He's got to move in with those ghosts as well. There go down the EMPs. Most of those units have lost their shields. Beautiful job, as a matter of fact. But he didn't get many of the high Templars, so a few storms will go down. But I think that QXC still has enough forces to push through this. Yes, he does. He's going to take those down. Flashback is forced to GG. And QXC does take game number 2, evening up this set 1-1 here at the IPL Season 2 Qualifiers number 3, round of 128. This was Cat's Pajamas. We'll catch you guys for game number 3, the rubber match of this best of 3 set.